Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Versus, the Versus debate show here on AMC Movie Talk, where we take a topic, take two opposing sides, discuss it, debate it a little bit, but ultimately, we leave it up to you guys to decide who the winner is by online vote. Now, I'm going to let you guys know that last week's Versus topic, which was who is the better professor, Professor Charles Xavier or Professor Dumbledore, you guys voted in a close one, actually, for Professor X. Professor Charles Xavier is the winner of last week's Versus. You guys voted him the winner over Dumbledore, 56% to, 54% to 46%, wasn't it? Something like that. Very, very close. So that was the results of your guys' vote. This week, we have a timely topic, Gollum or Caesar? Ooh. Who is the better Andy Serkis character? Of course, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is playing in AMC Theaters right now. You can head on over to www.amctheaters.com to get your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information for that film right now. But we are talking about, we are living right now in the age of the greatest motion capture artist we've ever had. Probably the first artist to really be known as a great motion capture artist, and the performances that he brings to this character. And we've got two characters, one that just shattered everybody's perceptions of what a virtual character can do with Gollum. We've got a new one setting new limits with Caesar. So this is a tricky question. Miri, we're going to start this off with you. Who do you think is the better of the two characters, and why?
Well, I have to say it's close, and I've given this a lot of thought. I'm going to go with Gollum, and the reason why is because, to your point, I think when the first Lord of the Rings movie came out, Gollum blew my mind. I'd never seen anything like it before. I'd never seen a motion capture performance like this before. So for me, in my introduction to Andy Serkis at that point, because I didn't really know about him before, this was like just such a groundbreaking experience for me as a film goer, and his performance is so wonderful. The other thing about Gollum is I grew up reading Lord of the Rings books and The Hobbit, and I was familiar with Tolkien's work as a writer, and Gollum had always been somebody, a character that was beloved to me for all that he can be beloved. He's such a complex character. He's somebody that was something once and became something else, and he still has these remnants of who he was and who he is now. And he's a constantly evolving character in the sense that he has this relationship to the ring that's very alive and it's very ongoing, but he's a shell of who he was, and he's become this monster, but he's so, you feel such sadness for him. And you know, I've always found Gollum so interesting because you're disgusted, or at least I can speak for myself, I was always disgusted by him, but also so, my heart always went out to him. I always felt badly for him and also feared him, and also he has so many. Was it
Shore that did the score for Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, yes. Sure.
His Gollum theme,
yes.
Going to your point about sadness.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the Gollum theme, you just hear it and you instantly, your heart breaks for this evil little thing.
Yeah, he's an evil little thing, but he's so much bigger than that, and he's so multifaceted. And I love Caesar. I think Caesar's a wonderful character and in many ways very human. And we talked about this in our spoilers review. But he also doesn't have the legacy that Gollum has. Gollum is a character that we've known for the ages, and we've looked to him as a symbol of what happens when greed gets the better of you, what happens when you become short-sighted and you become fixated on something that, in a one-sided relationship. He's representative of so many things, and I don't know, I had to think hard about it, but for me, I think it's Gollum.
Schnepp, what about you? You got to pick between Gollum and Caesar. Tough task.
Right.
But which one do you go with and why?
Well, after thinking a lot about it, I'm going to go with Caesar for the reasons of technology. Because we're comparing two computer graphic characters acted by the same actor. You know, Andy Serkis, who is on his own a well-accomplished actor, and a few of the chances he's got to actually be a lead, like Burke and Hare. If you haven't seen Burke and Hare, check it out. It's on a bunch of different streaming platforms right now. You can see it. It's with Simon Pegg. He's great, great in it. So he is just an actor himself, is a fantastic actor. Not so much in the King Kong movie, guys, but you know, that's why I recommend Burke and Hare. But what he's done with motion capture and advancing it, and basically getting the acting into motion capture by allowing all those little nuggets that are put on their faces, and really working with the computer graphics artists to try to finesse it and to get more out of it. So the more that the artists are able to infuse the actor's essence into the role, the more you're going to get out of it. Like I know for Gollum, the very first Lord of the Rings, hardly that much motion capture. A lot of it was like just the face, but all the movement was done by CG artists. The second Gollum, a lot more motion capture, but still, I'd say about half and half. They were fixing moves and things that he couldn't possibly do as a human being. The third movie, a lot of Andy Serkis is in there. So for the Gollum, and for me, like his best Gollum was in The Hobbit, when him and
Bilbo.
Yeah, Bilbo were having that one conversation in the cave.
The Battle of Riddles.
That's
oh
like
my
my
God, that's literally my favorite part of that movie. It's fantastic, and I forgot that I was watching a CG character in that moment. So that was like a 30-minute section that advanced the platform of motion capture for me. But to be honest with you, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was the first movie where I forgot that they were CG apes. And I was making fun of that trailer to a bunch of my Planet of the Apes friends. I was like, you're really excited about the Apes movie. What's wrong with you? You know, I thought it was going to suck. And I saw it, and I was blown away. I was literally blown away about how emotional it was. And above it and beyond that, just what a great motion capture acting job that was done with Caesar by Andy Serkis and the computer graphics team that did the first one. With this sequel, it's gone above and beyond. It's a new plateau of motion capture. So the nuances that you could see in his face, and then if you watch some online, they have a bunch of these side-by-side views of like, you know, they have the weird gizmos and strange extension arms. And I mean, just you have to imagine how hard that would be to just be wearing that all day. I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, these clothes are baggy. What about some weird contraption that you got to strap into, then act? So it's a hard job to act as an ape in a weird monkey suit, literally. I think he did a great job, and that's why I'm going with Caesar.
I got to go with Gollum. I just think Caesar, you know, I said in our spoilers review that I think Caesar is the best character of the year. I think out of all film, I think he is the best character we've had of the year because he's multi-layered, multi-dimensional, he's strong yet vulnerable, he's courageous yet naive sometimes. I mean, there's all these different aspects and layers to him that come out in the true courage of who the character is, and it's great. But Gollum is one of the single greatest characters in literature or film history, I think. Because you're talking about a character, a lot of times you'll get these characters on TV that have split personalities or whatever, and that's fine. But with Gollum, you had these two very distinct personalities, yet definitively one character. You know, a lot of times when they try to pull off the two personality things, you never get the sense that it's the same guy. It's always, there's Ed and there's Brian, the two separate sides. With Gollum, it was always, that's Gollum, and yet at the same time, two completely different guys. I still remember in the second Lord of the Rings film, that first time, when he thinks he's alone and everybody else is asleep, and he starts having this discussion and argument with himself. I was just, the complexity of this character, and we always forget the sadness about him because he ultimately, Gollum is a victim of the ring. You know, he fell under, you know, the seduction of the ring. I don't know how many centuries it was before the first Lord of the Rings starts when we see that little opening when he's with his other little quasi-hobbit buddy and kills him over because of the seduction of the ring and how it changed him and mutated him and it just corrupted, splitting his mind. There's shells of himself and yet shells of this evil thing that now exists that still somehow managed to live together in a weird sort of harmony and all that kind of stuff. So while I think Caesar is the best character of the year. I just love the performance of it. I love everything they did, and obviously the technology of him is just unlike anything we've ever seen. I said before, it kicks the crap out of anything we saw in Avatar. But Gollum is, to me, just on another level for me. So I'm going to have to go with Gollum. Dennis, which one do you go for and why?
It's a tough one because both of them are such fantastic characters. I mean, you had Gollum. It's the breakthrough performance capture. That's what put it on the map. It put Andy Serkis on the map. That led to Avatar and also with Caesar for Planet of the Apes. But I'm gonna have to go with Caesar, just because he is the main character. I mean, forget about. I mean, I thought James Franco was good. I think Jason Clarke is good. But in both of the Planet of the Apes movies, the new ones, Caesar is the main character, you know, because you see his character go through the story arc, his character changes, his character develops. The other ones are kind of they kind of start and end kind of in the same place, maybe a little bit different, but it's all about Caesar, where I think the thing with Gollum, who is fantastic, we've already seen him, like, he is who he is now. in the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings. Like, he is kind of that schizophrenic, crazy, you know, character that's dealing with all this stuff, but it's already kind of happened to him, versus the development of Caesar in these movies, where you see him from the beginning go from, you know, this ape that like doesn't have really a mom or dad, and then it has this foster dad in James Franco's character, and just learns, you know, all the good sides of humanity and the bad sides of humanity. And I think that all comes out, and you're right, in terms of the technology, like, it just keeps getting better and better in this latest iteration. I think it just shows that, I just watched the behind the scenes for Rise, and you can just see like all the little nuances that are going on with Andy Serkis and his performance, and how it translates over to the actual, what you see on screen. Well, folks, it's split amongst the pundits on the couch.
It's the couches.
Yes, yeah, we've got this couch over here. Schnepp and Dennis are going to be voting for the amazing character Caesar. Miri and myself will be voting for the amazing character Gollum, but ultimately that's irrelevant, because what really counts is your vote. Look in the description of this video and you'll see a link to where you go and vote. Who is the better Andy Serkis character, Gollum or Caesar? We'll announce next week who you guys voted as the winner. So that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Versus. I want to thank the people on the couch with me doing this little discussion. First of all, Miss Miri Jedikin. Miri, where can people find you online?
People can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Miri the Jedi. But before I let this thing continue, you have to just check out Conan O'Brien had Andy Serkis on his show, and he had a telephone conversation with Gollum and Caesar. It was...
Wow. I gotta look that up.
It's so
Hey, let's
funny.
hurry up, because I want to get on Facebook. I want to get on YouTube and look this up. I gotta see this. Oh, sitting over here, Mr. Dennis Zen.
You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, and on Instagram, dennis.tzeng.
And of course, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp.
And you can find me on the various social media networks, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us for this episode of AMC Versus. We'll be back again next time. So until then, I'm John Campia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.